All right, we are off and running here at the spring game inside the Carrier Dome. Great to have you along with us for an hour and a half or so of football. And the fans have made their way out after a women's lacrosse lopsided win against Virginia Tech that got the day started. And to get our broadcast started, we'll go back to Brian Higgins on the field with last year's leading receiver, Jared West.
All right, Matt, we do have Jared West right here. And Jared, the spring game's sort of the start of things, isn't it? Getting ready for the next year. What was it like for you when you think back to your first spring games and really the idea of becoming a Syracuse football player?
It was always a lot of fun. I mean, I think that when I was playing in the spring games, it was just a time to see where I stand going into the season. It's right before fall camp, and it's a last evaluation before camp, so I was always trying to make a big stand.
For you, as having just wrapped up your Syracuse career, a lot of potential recruits watching today, what would you tell them as far as what it means to be a part of this program?
It's a great time. I met some of my best friends at this school. There's great coaching staff. There's so many people that come and support. Like when I walk around the mall, you get people that are always trying to shake your hand and talk to you and take pictures, and it's just an awesome atmosphere to be around.
Coming up on Tuesday, you've got your pro day. That'll be right here in Syracuse. What are the goals for you? What do you want to show off for those NFL scouts?
Just run fast and look good, and just try to be crisp and the things I've been working for 3 months. So.
All right, Jared, lastly for now, I got to ask you about this beard. What is going on here? You've been growing this thing out since the end of the football season. You got a lot going on right there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been grinding, so I've been growing the beard out, and it's been going along with me this hard training, trying to look mean going into pro day. So.
All right, I like it. The training beard, we'll check back in throughout the day. Thanks for coming on, Jared.
Thank you, too. Appreciate it.
All right, Matt.
Okay, thanks, guys. Jared West, 700 yards receiving a year ago. We wish him the best as he pursues professional football. And you saw in the background there a lot of his teammates from a year ago, like Dyshawn Davis and Cam Lynch, watching at field level. We're underway with the first of the drills here. A pass skeleton, and Terrell Hunt out there loosening up. For him, a big deal here. He has not played since the Louisville game at the start of October a year ago. Spent a lot of the second half of last year in the coach's box with Tim Lester, helping him call plays, developing the mental side of the game.
He understands defenses a lot better, and spent a lot of time in the booth last year with us, and so he's seen the game from a different perspective. And so it's good because obviously we're putting in a new offense, and there's that learning curve of learning what's going on and what he's doing, and so that's normal. But his understanding of what the defense is doing is way ahead of where it's been in the past, which is what you expect out of a fifth-year guy.
So Hunt has spent a lot of time with that headset on, says he has a much better grasp of what's going on offensively. Keep in mind that there's a change really for everybody, but Hunt can be a bit ahead of the curve as the Orange go from a George McDonald offense to now Tim Lester with his full imprint. Lester very fond of the two tight end set in his time at prior schools, Division III, where he was an offensive coordinator and head coach prior to here, Western Michigan, places like that. So, Geds, we expect a little bit of a change in the personnel that we'll see on the field most of the time.
Yeah, you know what, and even going back to last year when Terrell Hunt obviously was no longer able to compete on the field, I do like the move of putting him up in the booth with Tim Lester. That's his quarterback's coach. Great to get on the same page with him. And now to be stepping into the offseason and preparation and the homework-wise that goes into it, I think those two have a closer bond as they move forward. And you talk about Tim Lester's offense there, the double tights. Again, I don't think we're going to see much of that today, at least as far as the new offensive scheme goes. But it's something, though, that he's very excited about. And forget about if Tim Lester's excited about it. He's confident that the Syracuse community and the fans are going to be just as excited about the new offense as we see it unrolled this September.
Austin Wilson at quarterback. Now there you see Oliver Vigil. He and Cordell Hudson on a pass breakup just a moment ago. This is a skeleton, or as the coaches call it, skelly. So passing formation and passing drill with the line taken out of the equation. Wilson out of the Harrisburg area, overthrowing the intended target, Sean Avant there, and the offense switching to get Terrell Hunt and company on the field. Defensively, so much lost from a very effective group a year ago, including the early departure to the NFL for Darrell Eskridge. But you're looking at Cam Lynch and Dyshawn Davis, tremendously productive and a large part of the defensive line group.
Well, you know what? I'm looking at that list on the monitor right now, and you're right. I mean, the amount of experience that you're missing, and not only the tackles and assists and interceptions that you're missing, but it's also that leadership as well. And I looked at the guy right there in the middle of the screen, Cameron Lynch. I mean, that's a guy that came in here, played all 4 years, played extremely well, and really developed into just a natural-born leader. So right now, Tim Doust, Chuck Bullitt, defensive coordinator, they got their hands full replacing all of those players. I think they're very confident some above them. Zaire Franklin, there's one right now, moved over to the middle linebacker. And not only are they impressed with Zaire Franklin as far as what he's been able to do, but he's also emerged as that leader that Cam Lynch was. And so that's something that is really a testament to that kid, Franklin.
Franklin out of Philadelphia, a guy who stepped up a year ago to plug a gap and now right into a leadership role as the Orange's middle linebacker. He is extraordinarily thick, a hard hitter.
Comes downhill and hits you.
This is Terrell Hunt at quarterback, and his pass through the hands of Ben Lewis. The Syracuse coaching staff has been on the road recruiting. They'll get right back to it with the completion of spring drills here today. Bobby Acosta has been active on the recruiting trail and talks about the family approach set by Orange head coach Scott Schaefer that tends to be a lure for recruits.
When kids come here, the first thing they see is Coach Schaefer, and usually Mrs. Schaefer and the daughter of the son. You know, our kids are always around, so they connect Syracuse football and its athletic department with family right away. And we're transparent. You know, they're going to see our kids. They're going to see us as real men, hopefully to develop their kids one day. So, you know, what I tell our parents is that you've done a tremendous job raising your kids. Now we have to finish the process. And they need to see that. The parents definitely need to see that.
And so many of the players recruited here, as you see Coach Acosta working his thing on the offensive side of the ball. They come from different backgrounds and really get embraced as the sons of the coaching staff as it exists now.
Yeah, and I think that's a great concept to really put in play, is that whole family atmosphere. You and I can both say that, you know, even going out to spring practice this year, to see the wives and the kids that are on the sideline even, you know, supporting their husbands, supporting these student athletes who really just an extension of their own families is very important, because when the kids come in as recruits and those other families get to see that, I think it says a lot to hey, the program, the head coach and the assistants that are really be looking after your kid when he leaves high school and comes here. He's going to be welcomed into a big part of that family.
A.J. Long saw a lot of time playing a year ago. Does not necessarily factor into the plans for this coming season. Looking maybe to redshirt to take a year in development before coming back as a candidate to start. So he's getting an opportunity with really 3 quarterbacks in rotation in spring ball. And underneath route there dropped by Ashton Broyle. Much more to come. An actual 11-on-11 scrimmage session. A couple of those periods still to come here at the Carrier Dome as our coverage of the Orange football spring game continues. Back at the Carrier Dome as the first of the drills of the day continues. A pass Skelly with Orange trying to connect some downfield routes. That one going for Brisley Esteem, who's got a great opportunity to stretch the field with his vertical speed. Much more to come as he's being thrown to right now by Zach Mahoney, new quarterback in the program. Let's head to the field and again check in with Brian Higgins and another of the talented wide receivers that's formerly been in the program and continuing to find his way in pro ball. Brian.
Well, that's right, Matt. We found a guy that's been through plenty of drills as part of the Syracuse University football team. That's Alec Lemon. Alec, you're 2 years out. Hard to believe it's been almost 6 years since you made up your mind to go here way back in the day. What was it like going through that decision that a lot of guys in the stands today are going through right now?
Yeah, it was an amazing process, coming here and, meeting the coaching staff, You know, me and the alumni that come back, you know, you see me, I'm 2 years out from graduating, and, you know, I always come back all the time. I just love this place and the support that you get. And one of the big reasons why I came here is because I want to be known as a class that brought Syracuse back to what they did. And I feel like we did. And, you know, they could take this to a whole nother level. And they did 2 years ago. And, you know, they had a rough patch last year. But I know for a fact that they're going to bring it back this next year.
Yeah, we've seen you sort of around the facility the last couple of weeks, working out with a guy we just talked to, Jared West. What's it like working with him right now as he's trying to break into the NFL and you're trying to get back yourself?
No, it's nice. I'm actually staying with him. I'm finishing up class. And, you know, I've just been telling him, you know, the tricks and the tips and everything and what to get ready for and how to approach everything and approach the game like a pro. And I'm really trying to guide him the right direction because, you know, I've been there and I know he's trying to get to the same level as me. And, you know, I feel like he's got what it takes right now.
What's it like for you going through this process, trying to make the NFL is one of the hardest things percentage-wise to do in the world? When you got hurt your rookie year and now you're trying to battle back. Where are you at in that process right now?
I'm actually a free agent. You know, I ended with the Ravens at the end of the year, and I'm not going to go back with them. So, you know, I've been waiting for my call, for my phone to ring, you know, hear something. And right now, taking my class to graduate, staying in shape. You know, Coach Hicks has got me right. And, you know, really, whenever I get that call, I'll be ready. And, you know, hopefully it's coming soon. If not, you know, it's still kind of early in the process.
All right, Alec, thanks for joining us here today, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Alec Lemon's been very generous with his time in Manley Fieldhouse, coming back here to work out as so many guys feel comfortable with Will Hicks. Right now, Cole Murphy in a field goal drill has nailed a couple of long ones in a row. That one from the center of the field, a 42-yard attempt, and they'll leave on that note for the time being as those drills continue. We're about to see an 11-on-11 scrimmage period coming up. Let's get a look at that Ensley Center. We've been talking about it. Cliff and his wife, Sue, very generous to put their names on the building, but it's got an opportunity to really lift the Syracuse football program.
Doesn't look all that huge from the outside until you walk in.
When you walk into the facility, there's a wow factor.
We have the top-notch facility.
When you go in there, it's first class. The dormers up above with the natural light coming in. It just has that first class feel to it, which is so important. It's something that we've always looked at in recruiting, not just with the indoor facility, but with our cafeteria, with our locker room facility, with the players area. You know, we want it to be first rate.
Once you walk in, you get a feel, and even the people that have come to practice and coaches, recruits, when you walk in and you realize how big, how massive it is, and how much space there is outside the playing field to still do stuff and still have the playing field. I mean, it is, and it doesn't look that way from outside. Maybe it's because there's a lot of snow on the ground. It's just a white building around the white snow. It looks like a nice building. When you walk in, it is one of the most impressive structures once you're in to realize how big it is and how much stuff we can do in there.
It affords you the luxury of practicing indoor and not being, you know, in a tight, confined space. Manley was great, but it was a Band-Aid. And now having the Ensley Center gives us an opportunity to go in there and get all our work done. It's the exact same footprint as the Dome, so the kids will have that same feel as far as playing surface and how much room out of bounds, but it also has great facilities in the front and in the back for equipment storage as well as meeting space. Things that maybe some of the spectators wouldn't think about that are essential to our development is how well can we video practice and have consistency in our video. Well, this system is really built with the model of the NFL in mind. We have 4 remote cameras. So the days are gone in the indoor facility where you see people getting up on lifts and having to lug their cameras up there and the cords and all those types of things, because it's all done by remote. The new indoor surface that we have down, the turf that we have down, will be replaced also in the Dome. So it'll be exactly the same and about the same age, you know, subtracting a few months. So, you know, I think when the kids are on the same surface and there's that same feel, you know, as coaches, you're always coaching up the feel of the game, the kinesthetic feel of playing in a certain environment. Well, that environment will be very similar whether we're in the indoor facility or back over at the Dome. So I think that'll be key. So even the kickers, the specialists, are happy to be in the indoor. We've created some things that are a little bit unique. We have an arena football field goal post, 2 of them actually, in the facility. So the snappers to the holders to the kick, they're having to target something extremely small. So when they miss, it's still a make when we go to the college goal post.
It's going to be huge, and that building is what allowed us to do it.
Just having a facility that's as big as Ensley gives us that luxury to practice the way we would if we were outside.
Well, you see Tim Lester under the weather this week, so we appreciate his recovery and hustle to
He's in the
call
bubble
plays today, and he is up in the actual coach's booth here at the Carrier Dome. You know, the Ensley Center saw the state-of-the-art remote camera system, which is back in the football wing control. They can use the robotic cameras there and check all the different angles. The other thing that it allows is to simulate in the ACC some of these road environments. You want to turn up the Florida State fight song to level 14, you can do it, or jack up that Miami Heat.
Well, I think some of the players were doing that last Sunday night. I go in there tossing the ball around with my son, and you got 8 guys in there that are playing their, it must have been a 80s metal mixtape, but those guys were you're exactly right. They're jamming the music, they're doing their own conditioning drills, they're running their own ladders, they were playing a little ultimate frisbee as well, so you still get some high-hand coordination with some conditioning, and that's the biggest thing, Matt. I listening to the coaches make their remarks is awesome, because they're telling it like it is, and then you and I have been around the country, so we've seen facilities like that, and I'll tell you, a lot of the times you go out of bounds in some of those facilities and there's a metal beam there with a pad around it. This thing just gives you all kinds of options, and just because of the scheduling and the weather, never comes, never is a factor any longer because of the Ensley Center.
All right, let's get to the play. The Orange are now going 11 on 11. You see Terrell Hunt at quarterback, so this is the go team out there, and right now they work at the plus 23-yard line here at the Carrier Dome. So they're moving the football. Steve Ishmael made such an impact as a freshman last year. Hard to do in college football. And he's at the bottom of your screen in this one-back set with George Morris. Hunt to throw. Has Ishmael with the catch on that comeback route in front of Dowles, but ruled out of bounds.
And Steve Ishmael, you talk about a guy that flashed last year, and again, the way he just competes on all of his routes, even if he's the 4th or 5th read, I love it because it's a great illustration for the kids at home. Hey, here's a guy that's a freshman, so he's trying to make reasons for the coaches to believe he can play, and he just runs all the routes hard, and then some of his catching ability as well that showed up is just miraculous in my opinion.
As we'll pick up here, the offense in blue, defense in white, and the quarterbacks in the gray uniform, so they're not hit today. Great pass breakup on the perimeter at the outside linebacker spot, Ulrich Perry.
Wow, just got underneath of Josh Paris, and Paris, again, discipline of routes. Everyone is run with a purpose. When you break out at 6 yards, you really got to be starting to angle down to like 5 when you're at the end of the catch. Otherwise, it's like a door left open. You're giving the linebacker a seam to come underneath, and that ball really should have been intercepted.
Had it been intercepted in that spot, it might have been
I think
6 the other way. Hunt to throw once again, and a drop this time by Paris, maybe a bit behind him, but Paris punishing himself on the should be completion.
You go to him 2 times in a row. One's almost an interception for a touchdown, and that one certainly is a drop ball thrown a little bit behind. Now, I'll forever be indebted, though, to Josh Paris, because if you remember 2 seasons ago, you needed the win against Boston College in the waning seconds. It was a throwback to the tight end, Paris, who was able to actually get in and score, which sent Syracuse, obviously, to Houston for the Texas Bowl.
You see Scott Schaefer there, defensive guy, but his viewpoint on the Orange offense and what his expectations can be with Terrell Hunt back in the fold.
Starting on the offensive side of the ball, last year Brisley Esteem, a young man, only played in a handful of games with injuries. Ashton Boyle, same deal, only played in a handful of games due to his knee injury. Both of those guys are full go this spring and having a good spring. Terrell Hunt is back. He's healthy. He's doing everything. He's throwing. He's running. And it's good to have, those 3 guys back in the huddle. Up front, we have battles across the whole front 5 guys. It'll be a matter of just continuing to sort it out. Right now I say there are no starters, even though we feel good about Trudeau being back in the lineup, Omari Palmer, Ivan Foy, those 3 guys. But we also have some young new faces that are competing as well. Not to the level that we need to at this point in time, but there's been good progress made.
tabbed Schaefer as a defensive guy, but his
yeah.
background originally was as a college quarterback at Ohio, and then Baldwin Wallace.
Yep.
But his professional coaching career has largely been as a defensive coach, defensive coordinator here for 4 years prior to becoming head coach. Austin Wilson running the Syracuse offense now, but a little intercession from official Dennis Hennigan, one of the best, and taking care of running this controlled scrimmage today. First down and 10 for this offense now at the 44-yard line. Stumble on the exchange in the backfield for George Morris. George over 100 yards a year ago behind Prince Tyson Gully, who was the Orange's leading rusher.
You know, when I listen to Scott Schaefer talk and break down the defense, of course, and just now we had a chance to listen to him about his offense breakdown of the personnel. I tell you, I think one of his most endearing qualities is his sincerity. And he comes across so sincere when talking to these players, when talking to the parents of incoming recruits. And again, if you know, those that don't know him in the community, I think are doing themselves a disservice, only because he's a guy worth getting to know more so than the wins or losses, you know, following a game on Saturday. But there's so much depth and quality to him, especially on the level of sincerity. It's comforting. It's refreshing is what I want to say.
Marquise Hodge, Donnie Simmons on the tackle after the Morris handoff. A couple of these shotgun snaps have been a bit high, maybe throwing off the timing a bit. Ron Thompson, a player that the Syracuse coaches feel can be a real difference maker on the defensive line, in on that hit as well.
You know, Ron Thompson, the coaches love him. The players love him. Intense with what he does in the weight room. Intense on the actually practice field and field itself. That one incomplete over the middle, intended to Sean Event there. But Ron Thompson, though, just absolutely loves the game of football. Probably the biggest knock on Ron Thompson would be, hey, as equally focused as you're in the you know, weight room and on the practice field, we need half of that when it comes to academics and those things. So he's a guy that just you know, needs to remind himself every day about the emphasis on the schoolwork. But just to put him on the field and in the weight room, Matt, he's a, you know, a tremendous person to watch. And again, I think a player that other kids feed off as well. He's a great example to the incoming freshmen and younger guys on the team.
A.J. Long in at quarterback now. Provided such a needed support system for the Orange last year. It was hard to find a quarterback that could stay in there for a regular period of time after Terrell Hunt's injury. And on the end around action, Ben Lewis gets the carry and Thompson on the tackle. But there's Long, who's a combination of ability to run the football and throw, and promising prospect.
Well, a lot of people really fell in love with him last year. He's thrown into the action because of the injuries there, not only to Terrell Hunt, but to Wilson as well. And, you know, made the most of those opportunities. That is certainly going to be a joy to watch in these upcoming years.
Trey Dunkelberger is in, one of the early enrollees, tight end number 11, junior college transfer, and they go to him on this play, and he is upended right at the line to gain. Dunkelberger, rarely do you see junior college players coming into this program. That has not been typical, but in recent years, a wise selection of 3 or 4 helps you build up your depth.
It really does, and obviously when there's a lot of holes to fill, you would love to think that you're doing such an outstanding job with recruiting high school juniors and seniors. When they come in, they're going to be ready to go. But yeah, the junior college route is certainly you know, a quick fix way to go. You don't want to, you know, let that become the actual MO of a team. But in a case like,
hit him up the seam here.
Sure, it's 2 in a row there.
Yeah, topsy-turvy as he is knocked out. But he's originally from Pennsylvania. That's why he sticks out as a little bit different, even though he went to community college in California.
And I'll tell you what, I'll be honest with you. I mean, based on what I saw on his junior college highlight tape, what I've seen in practices leading up to today's spring game, I've not been overly impressed. But hey, at the end of the day, there's 2 first downs to the junior college tight end, and you know, one stretched the field, the second one there, and the other one was, you know, showed me that he can at least take a hit and still hold on to the football.
Antoine Cordy on the tackle, and it moves the sticks. First down at the 36-yard line. Modest gain here for George Morris off the right. Paris Bennett figures to be a new, if not starter, big-time contributor at outside linebacker.
Zaire Franklin's a little bit slow to get up. I was going to say, I don't believe that's Zaire. That's a offensive player, though. Maybe Rob Trudeau.
I believe it's Michael Lasker.
Okay, we'll go with that one.
So teams will take a moment to step away here. This spring game, first and foremost, you want everybody to be healthy at the end of the day, and the outstanding training staff here, Denny Kellington, Brad Kimball, Dr. Todd Battaglia, all surrounding the young man.
In the NFL, this would be similar to the last game of the season. You know you're not going to the playoffs. Your number one goal is to don't get hurt, because now you're looking at quite the offseason as far as any rehabilitation goes. And in these players' minds today, certainly with the coaching staff, you don't want to see a guy go down. But if you're that player out there, you want to perform well and compete. But yeah, you're knocking on wood all day long here to get to the locker room afterwards and still be in one piece.
Gain of 2 on the play brings second down and 8. No clock. Coach Schaefer wanted to get in a scripted set of plays, not necessarily worry too much about the game situations. So 3 receiver set here, 2 by 1 for Long out of the pistol. And Long to throw. We've seen quite a diet of the passing game. This one incomplete again with Cordy on the coverage.
Yeah.
Antoine Cordy, a special teams player a year ago, and a guy that saw late in the season significant game action as a defensive back. Versatile, and it looks like he'll settle in at safety more than corner.
So in talking with defensive backs coach Fred Reed throughout spring ball, Antoine Cordy by far is what Coach Reed calls him, pound for pound, the best defensive player on the field. He's transitioned well from corner to safety. You also see him line up in some nickel packages as well. So not only does he have the mental capacity to handle all, heck of a player as well, doing a great job of closing on that last pass intended for Lewis.
Mix up in the backfield and a sack on this 3rd and medium. Long appeared to turn the wrong way, and that one was doomed from the start. The defense able to flood and take advantage of the offense being out of whack there, and so a sack, and then it would have been a punt, but in a controlled situation here, they'll just go on to a new series, flip sides of the field at the 30. Mentioned Dennis Hennigan. He's a University of Rochester football product and a lawyer downtown here in Syracuse.
That's your guy.
Absolutely. Great guy and one of the very best officials in the game. Has previously worked the College Football National Championship, and we are so blessed in this area to have the College Football National Championship game official. And congratulations to Pat Driscoll on the basketball side. He will work the national championship.
Monday night he's blowing the whistle, right?
In Indianapolis, you bet. First down and 10 now as we get set to go here. And Terrell Hunt to Devontae McFarland, hit and dropped in the backfield. That's Chris Slayton able to bury him with deep penetration into the backfield.
Yeah, just really beat Michael Lasker there. Off the ball, worked across his face, and then just really strung it out and did a great job of just really swallowing the ball carrier there. Good job of getting open. And again, that's just an effort thing on the backside. That's why, as your defensive lineman and or tackle there, if you can run your motor all the time, good things are going to happen.
Slayton from Crete-Monee, south of Chicago. Scott Schaefer recruiting hotbed. He did not play a year ago, so he would have 4 years of eligibility remaining. Short gain over the middle here after a loss of 5 of the previous play, so they're back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 10. There's Irv Phillips, the speedy freshman, who really showed last year that he could be a home run hitter.
Well, he really did as a true freshman coming over for Connecticut here. He did a great job, in our opinion, in my opinion at least, of getting the seam, and he's a guy that can gas you quick. Now, again, going to this new offensive system, going to be used as more of a slot receiver, maybe some end around. And wow, what a catch that time on the sideline, but who else? But Steve Ishmael just going up and over the defender. Looks like Juan Dow's there. Holy cow. How about that? We're talking about Irvin Phillips there, and next thing you know, another freshman that played last year, Steve Ishmael. Good hands catch down the sideline. Wow, nice catch.
So feeling the heat up the middle, and Ishmael, a deep threat, doesn't necessarily run away from people,
good
but
body,
has the athleticism and
extension.
catches. Yeah,
and he does a good job too of not getting squeezed towards the sideline. He kept the real estate there, so he had room to react and twist his body.
The conventional running game has not netted much yet. Colton Moskal, a redshirted a year ago at linebacker, up to make the stop here. So 2nd down and 10 after the stop for no gain. Moskal, another Illinois native. So that back to Schaefer's Northern Illinois University days has been a very fertile recruiting ground. Chicago and just south of there. There's Phillips on the end around. Flag down for the first time, and he gets just more than the line of scrimmage. We expect to see lots of creative ways to use the athletes in Tim Lester's offense. And that means Ashton Broyld, Brisley Esteem, and Irv Phillips.
Well, it's just a matter of finding the right package to get the ball. And really, it's identifying your most electrifying players on offense. And then you got to design the plays around them. But yeah, you look at Ashton Broyld, Irvin Phillips for sure, McFarland and Morris, and even some good guys coming in next year perhaps that will be in the fold. That's all. The worst thing for us or the fans at home is to you see a guy that has the potential to be a game changer as far as breakaway speed, his vision, his toughness, and just is not able to get the carries. And unfortunately you can't give the ball to everybody all the time, but there has got to be a way to at least get it to your playmakers.
Holding on that play, marches it back 10 yards. 2nd down and 20. Cam McPherson,
there you go,
the CBA product, in motion as the tight end, and Hunt throwing this way has Sean Avant bumped out of bounds, well shy of the 1st down marker. Ulrich Perry, Jacob Green in on the action.
Yeah, Sean's had a really nice spring as well. Avant's another guy that's just trying to emerge, filling that gap there by Jared West.
Mentioned Cam McPherson, former quarterback at CBA, went to Georgetown of all places.
That's quarterback.
That's right. So bright he could have gone Ivy League in a lot of different places, and back here as a walk-on long snapper and then tight end. So seeing some action here in the spring game.
How about that?
Deflected away again.
Good
defense
break up that
strong.
time by the receiver. I'm trying to get the number there. Maybe I'm trying to see it coming back here, but that time the pass was broken up by the wide receiver for Syracuse, not the defensive back.
But how about Cam to prevent the interception?
Cam McPherson following in, obviously, his brother's footsteps, Mackie McPherson, who again was a bubble guy, not recruited by many, certainly by many in the Ivy League schools, or whatever. But Mackie McPherson was given opportunity here, and to me, Matt, he still epitomizes the one guy you can look at and say, you know what? When his eligibility was done as a Division I football player, you got absolutely everything out of that kid, and did it on the field, did it with his teammates, hanging out in the locker room, was a leader there, and certainly academically, and that's who Cam McPherson is as well. He's the guy now that stays late after practice, continuing to work on his pass catching abilities, his footwork, maybe a little bit slow right there, get him on the ladder, do some agility drills. But certainly with the last name like McPherson, legendary coach that his grandfather is, that name they don't rest on their laurels. They really attack it and try to live up to that name.
Hard-working bunch, and the best story that I've heard since Mackie McPherson left is when he got an opportunity to try out with the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, yeah.
And he called back talking about how great it was that he got something like $100 a day meal money. But hey, you don't need it. They give you all the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches you want, and that kind of thing. Those are the types of guys that would play in a parking lot.
Yeah.
Would certainly do it for free.
Yeah, and those are the guys too that you got to look at. Life beyond sport. They're going to do just fine.
2nd down and a long 6. Play fake for Wilson, tracked by Donnie Simmons, who may have gotten a sack in a real game, but the ball's away and complete for a 1st down. Ashton Broyld.
Tackled down the field by Zaire Franklin there. But yeah, certainly Donnie Simmons signaled like, hey, that would have been a sack, but obviously the officials letting him continue to play. Receiver's job is to play until the whistle. So they're not necessarily sure what's going on in the background, but there's Donnie Simmons, though, signaling to the ref. And nice throw down the field. And Ashton Broad's another one. You know, his years of service are only getting smaller. Another guy that came in with all kinds of potential.
Give to Morris up the gut here. Blown dead quickly after a gain of a couple, but a little burst there for Morris through the middle.
And that's Corey Winfield on the tackle. Another guy, standout special teams. Yep.
Not much of a spot there. That's a much more modest gain than we thought Morris would have gotten.
He must have saw that his knee was down. He definitely buckled towards the line, around the line of scrimmage, but exploded afterwards. But I'm sure he was marked with his knee was down. Wow.
So 2nd and 10. This is a very common pro set here. 2 receivers to the field, 1 into the boundary and 1 back. Wilson just enough time to throw. They blow it dead after he throws it away, and incomplete up the right sideline. The officials and coaches, I think, here being very cautious so as to not have the quarterbacks hit. And that was an early whistle to keep Wilson upright, although he is wearing the gray jersey, which is to discourage the contact.
Well, you've seen quarterbacks, and whether it's practice or in a game or a scrimmage like this, always wear that off-colored jersey. But I tell you right now, with the offense wearing blue, gray's not that different as far as if you're in the mix of a pile. You're a defensive end with the ears pinned back. You know, usually see a more vibrant color, I guess.
That's right. Well, you'll see that in the fall. Wilson over the middle on the post, touchdown. Adley Anoisi on the reception for the score, our first of the day.
It looked like that one might have been blown dead as well. Again, the kids are continuing to play, and Anoisi looked like he was maybe come up with a hamstring there at the end, almost limping there as he crossed the goal line. I very well could be wrong, and certainly hope I am, but maybe he just let up a little bit. But there is Corey Winfield, though, coming down the back of him. So nice touchdown, nice throw and catch that time by the Syracuse offense.
And Wilson able to hang in there under duress and make the completion. You see this number system which Tim Lester has introduced, and a reserve quarterback is charged with the task of flipping the numbers out there that correspond to the plays. And
there's always something.
Defensive side, they would also flash out a number system for the personnel.
Right.
Backs and tight ends, so 12 would be 1 back, 2 tight ends.
Right.
And that's the yellow card you can see there behind defensive coordinator Chuck Bulla. First down and 10, and once again Austin Wilson at the controls. Got rid of this one quickly for an underneath completion to Ben Lewis.
Ben Lewis, another sure-handed receiver, trying to get it more into the fold. Came on a little bit last year, and certainly has shown up well in these spring practices leading up to today as a short-handed receiver, working that slot a little bit. Had a drop earlier, which is uncharacteristic. They tried him on the end around. This time just a quick out there towards the sideline.
Still in the pistol, little rollout, almost an option look there for Wilson to Morris, and he's stood up by Julian Wiggum and company on the boundary at the near side. Devontae McFarland the carry, not Morris. Behind Donnie Foster.
And really, Wilson forced the pitch out a little bit sooner. You had the tight end, Trey Dunkelberger, really blocking number 7 there, Oliver Vigil, and just, you know, he's supposed to be taken care of with the block of the tight end, and instead leaked out a little bit. So that's who Wilson ended up pitching the ball off of, which means now then there's just one more defender there to meet you at the line of scrimmage.
One receiver each way, and double tight ends now for Wilson, throwing into the short side for Avant, who slips the first would-be tackler, doesn't gain much progress as Zaire Franklin finishes him off.
Little Bruce Springsteen right there. 1 step up and 2 steps back.
Gain of 3 altogether.
Does a great job initially on the outside there. Ben Lewis with a nice block, escapes 1 tackle, and then Franklin's there to wrap him up and push him back another 1.5 yards.
Second down and 7. Avant, a Miramar, Florida product, which has sent so many players into college football. And here to McFarland, a helmet popping off the offensive half and a flag down. Ron Thompson on the stop again.
John Raymond is the defensive player there that lost his helmet. Ron Thompson, again, just off that wide, the field end position, just coming across the face of it. Looked like it was the tackle there. Able to make a shoestring tackle in the backfield. And Ron Thompson, just another guy. When you talk about some of those voids up front, Thompson is certainly one who's going to have a bigger role this year.
He will solely play at the end position this year.
As he should. As he should. Yep. He moved into defensive tackle a little bit again. Converted tight end out of Michigan. Came here as a highly recruited tight end, but moved over to the defensive line 2 seasons ago.
Thompson, a Detroiter that led the Orange with 2 forced fumbles last season. So now 3rd down and 6. Wilson with plenty of time.
There it is. There it was.
Through the hands of Ben Lewis, incomplete, and that was short of the sticks to begin with. 4th down.
You know, Matt, right now, let's just say it's a game situation, and it's, you know, it is 4th and 6. Maybe it's a game you have to win or whatever. It's the first game of the season. One of the things I didn't see last year was at some point, it's 3rd down. You don't get it. It forces 4th and 5 or 6. It's one of those things. Do you kick, do you go for a punt or do you go for it? Last year, the players on the field looked to the sideline to see what the call was. The punting unit would be sent in and those players would come off the field. What you didn't see, and this is what I want to see, is the players, especially the offensive linemen, almost waving off the coach on the sideline and pointing emphatically like, we're going for it. We can go for it. To have that confidence in yourself, certainly at 4th and 2, 4th and 3, or 4th and 1, that's what I thought was missing last year. And that's where it starts with the offensive line. Those guys up front telling the staff, no, we can do it. Anyway, here's my soapbox.
All right, here's the #1 offensive line. Nick Robinson right there out of Baldwinsville has moved from right guard to left guard. Ivan Foy trying to fill the very large shoes of Sean Hickey, all-conference performer at left tackle. Terrell Hunt at quarterback. And not much happening here again on 1st down for Devontae McFarland. Wayne Williams among those plugging the gap defensively. Jonathan Thomas is highly thought of by the coaching staff. You see him in the front of your screen there, able to plug the gap.
Wayne Williams did not miss many meals, and he certainly didn't miss one on that play, just swallowing up the ball carrier, and does a really good job. Not necessarily going to beat you with the speed, but if you try to run downhill at Wayne Williams, he's going to do a great job of holding his own right there.
2nd and 10. Hunt again puts some air underneath it and a little too far in front of Steve Ishmael.
And that is a completion that Terrell Hunt needs to make. That's where the maturation process continues. To have that touch down the field, offensive line gave you the protection you needed. You know you got Steve Ishmael as a pretty disciplined route runner. He's going to be in the right place for you. And timing-wise, forget about spring ball when it started with the Ensley Center. These guys can go in there 24 hours a day and work on those timing routes their own. But that's where I want to see Terrell Hunt get that ball down a little bit, make that throw and catch.
3rd down and 10. Hunt on the throwback screen through the hands of Irv Phillips, incomplete. Phillips wise to track it down anyway, but when the ball hit the ground there, that play was dead. And it looked to be a pretty good play call exactly against that rush.
The defensive rush was coming from the field side. Tim Lester maybe was his 6th sense up there as the bubble boy, and having the cold that he has today, maybe he sensed something, but that was the right call right there. Just Irv Phillips just trying to run a little bit prematurely before he caught it.
New set of downs here on 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. George Morris, the back this time. Brisley Esteem and Ashton Broyle deployed to the top of your screen. Hunt on the keeper. They blow it dead to keep him safe. You call that a gain of 2.5, nearly 3 yards. Speaking of Tim Lester, I think there's been a lot of talk and speculation about what we might expect from his fingerprints on the Syracuse offense. Keep in mind, he and George McDonald, his predecessor, were very close. They worked together prior to Syracuse and worked through last season to produce what we saw on the field. We caught up with Lester to get his idea on what we might see to come in the fall.
I think so. I mean, it's not the spread. You know, we were on the spread. I love the spread. I enjoyed it, learning about it. It's not anything I'd done before I came here, and some of the concepts in it were you know, cutting edge, I guess you could say. And so we've actually incorporated some of that into you know, my offense, which has been fun. You know, and but you know, we're going to run the ball, and we want to make sure that we're able to control the line of scrimmage and use the passing game, and to be really aggressive in the passing game, and you know, so it'll definitely it's just a different type of scheme from a spread. It's more of a pro style.
We are seeing pro style personnel here throughout this day. Really, the pistol has been the primary formation, but you're looking at typically 3 receiver sets or 2 receivers and 2 tight ends, and that's what you got on the 3rd and short there. Orange get just enough. Jonathan Thomas, good-looking athlete, makes the stop, but not before the first down is achieved. Thomas is a guy who will get a look at linebacker. He's from Lawrenceville, Georgia, outside of Atlanta, same area as Cameron Lynch came to Syracuse from. And the story on Cam, obviously, right from day one, is if this guy were 2 or 3 inches taller, he'd be playing in the SEC. And what a career he had.
Well, and you talk about the absence there of Cam Lynch, of Dyshawn Davis in that linebacker core. Jonathan Thomas there, it was a nice tackle to play before there. Certainly a part of that mix. The other guy you talked about, Paris Bennett, as well, has to step up a little bit.
Play action here.
Yeah, we go down the field.
Underthrown for Esteem, and a great job of coverage. Esteem couldn't get back there. Cordell Hudson, a fantastic job of running Esteem off the ball.
Jared West right now is actually in the ear of the official, kind of putting his arm right on his chest about the arm bar and lack of progress that was allowed there. Jared making the case for Grizzly Esteem. And of course, Robert Welsh right next to him. Again, his eligibility's done. He's making the case for the defense. Funny how that works out. But you get back to Paris Bennett. Played well last year, I thought. He's a guy that somehow you want to order him a large pizza with everything on it about 10 o'clock every night. He just needs to put on another 20, 25 pounds, and he will be a stud there at that outside backer position.
Big hole for McFarland, and he gets the first down himself with a push at right guard and a gain of 11. Well, that's a problem we'd all love to have. Maybe he needs a partner in sharing that supreme pizza.
Well,
we could join in.
And unfortunately, our clock dials back a little bit. Instead of 10 p.m. for us, we need a 10 a.m. pizza, so we got all afternoon and evening to work it off.
Another stop for Jonathan Thomas. He's able to hold up until teammates like Jawan Dowells could come over and make the stop on McFarland. McFarland's best run from scrimmage so far. Remember the big one he had a year ago at Wake Forest, the longest non-touchdown run in program history, as he went from scrimmage at 86 yards.
Tripped by the red zone, right? Wasn't that the
this time
comment somehow?
In the backfield to make the stop.
Well, you know, it's funny. Well, I don't know if it's funny or not, but because of this new offense, you're taking guys like Irvin Phillips, moving him to the outside slot position. Obviously, the departure of Prince Tyson Gully, Adonis Amin Moore. There's only 2 running backs in spring ball, and so when I go to the practice, I go inside the Inslee Center 2 days ago to watch practice. You got the tight ends over here running something, the defensive lineman over there, and you got 2 running backs are running through the sled or doing the footwork, and that's all it's been really, just the 2 guys this spring.
They back this up now to show 2nd down and 12 out of the pistol for Terrell Hunt.
Come on, Cam.
Near side, Jamal Custis, a stretching catch, using every bit of his athleticism to get into the red zone. A basketball background from Newman Goretti High, like Scoop Jardine and Rick Jackson, and it's first down at the 6 for the Orange offense. Custis has had a great spring.
Well, and Custis is another guy that came in here with strong potential there at wide receiver. A couple games into the season, got switched to tight end, and then towards the end got moved back out to wide receiver. So his head was swimming a little bit as a true freshman. There's all kinds of potential when you talk about his basketball physique and his skills, but that time coming up big, and that's the timing you want from Terrell Hunt down the field.
A shot of Syracuse University Chancellor Kent Syverud on hand. Great supporter of the athletics department. Throw toward the corner, incomplete, meant for Ashton Broyle. Scott Schaefer credits Chancellor Syverud for getting that Ensley Center finished double time, and there were people on the roof, inside, outside, all hours of the day, right through the winter, to make sure that was opened for the guys to get some work in as soon as the regular season completed.
And Pete Sala, right now interim athletic director here, his hands were all over the blueprints of that design, from nuts and bolts, the whole thing, and really getting it done, Matt, and seeing the length of time it took to get it approved and how quickly it went up was mind-boggling.
Well, credit to Pete Sala and his entire staff across the campus, but especially here at the Carrier Dome, where they've had this wild month, the NCAA East Regionals and the Billy Joel concert, Monster Jam. Prior to that, that is a very, very hard-working crew that will deserve a bit of a rest after this, not to mention all the lacrosse games that have happened. And Pete has his hands full, but in a leadership position really at both ends of campus for the time being. We'll hear from him a bit later, looking ahead to next fall's schedule. Right now, a red zone opportunity here, 3rd down and goal. Remember, this possession started at the 6 on that long completion to Jamal Custis. Hunt with a fake. Now a fastball, and it's dropped in the end zone.
Oh, man.
Cam McPherson had an opportunity there.
Oh, that was Cam. Okay. Yeah. And again, no one works harder than Cam McPherson, and you know that's why he stays after her. He knows that his route running, his footwork, and his hands are suspect. At the point of attack, I think he's a much better blocker than people thought he would be, especially after converting over from a quarterback to a tight end blocking position there. But yeah, that was certainly a touchdown that got away. And you know, again, to go back to Pete Sala and the Ensley Athletic Center, you just mentioned the whole host of events that took place here in the Carrier Dome. When I was recruited, and the guys with me, we were told by Coach Mack, Chris, I'm going to tell you right now, if it looks like snow, we go to the Carrier Dome. We practice inside. And that was a great sales pitch. And it got me, it got other people to come here. The reality of it is, because of all the events in the Dome, was if you did come over here and try to practice during the spring, chances are you had 50 yards of turf, maybe, because of the bleachers, because of the basketball or the concert schedule there was. So now with the Ensley Athletic Center, you're able to go there all the time.
A.J. Long going deep. Some contact. Still a catch for Brisley Esteem at the 11-yard line. He got inside position against Julian Wiggum. Probably should have been a flag, but he somehow found a way to make the catch.
Well, I tell you, it's great having Brisley Esteem. A little bit of injury bug early in spring. Practices has come back on nicely to have a strong finish here today, but that's just a heck of a catch and concentration, going up there, catching it at his highest point. And then once the ball's bobbled in the air, keeping his vision locked on the ball. Just a competitor. And it's great, just great having him back on the field.
Limited so much last year, he and Ashton Broyle both with seemingly twin lower body injuries. Combination route there, Geds, and did not connect, going for the pylon in the end zone. Broken up by Corey Winfield.
Yeah, and Brisley Esteem, you talk about needing to win those last couple games to get bowl eligible there, and you don't have Ashton Broyle, you don't have Brisley Esteem. It's scratching your head without those two playmakers. How are you going to do it? So again, just having those guys back and healthy certainly means a lot to this ball club.
Another goal-to-go situation just outside the 10, actually. 2nd down. They could get a first down inside about the 3. Pistol formation for Long. Quick trigger here, and a hit right after the completion underneath by Antoine Cordy. P.J. Batten on the reception.
P.J. Batten, a junior tight end, 6'3", 230, out of Dade Christian, Miami, Florida area. Good little stick route, good concentration, gets you just enough now to make third down manageable with 5 yards to go here. And yeah, you're absolutely able to pick up a first down if you get it to, it looks like about the 2.5 yard line.
Lewis going left with Jamal Custis. Anoisi to the right, high snap. They run it with George Morris, and that is not happening thanks to Paris Bennett.
Yep.
Bennett, another Detroiter who, again, a fertile recruiting area, especially when Tyrone Wheatley was here and had that connection. Bennett's a guy that could be a big factor in the fall.
Tell you what, Bennett does a great job of just reading this play, slips inside the blocker, and again, forced to pitch the ball early is going to, make one more player unaccountable for on that defense. And that time it was Bennett, and just does a great job of not only being in the right place, but just making a statement type of a tackle as well.
Ball's been moved to midfield. First down at the 50-yard line for the A.J. Long-led Syracuse offense. Long, a season ago, missed a little bit of time with nerve damage after a tough hit, but altogether completed 54% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, 8 picks. Also factor in the running game. On 1st and 10, over the middle, should have been intercepted by Bennett, and it falls incomplete, going for Anoisi.
That time A.J. Long tries to look off the defenders by keeping his stare there to the right where Steve Ishmael was matched up one-on-one. Instead comes back to that middle seam route, but Paris Bennett does a great job of just jumping and comes under it a little bit. It should have been an interception. I only say that because from a receiver or a defensive back standpoint, if you get one hand on the ball, in your mind that should be a catch or it should be an interception. That time Paris Bennett had a chance.
2nd down 10. Movement along the line, it appeared, in a quick release, not quite a shovel pass, but the same concept there at the line, and it may have been deflected.
Yeah, it looked like he was clocking the football type of a play, just spiked it right into the ground. Certainly not as was intended, though. That's 2nd down, obviously.
Long stretch of uninterrupted plays here. There will be a halftime coming up. We'll have visits with Jeremiah Marr related to ticketing, and Pete Sala on the exciting schedule for the coming season. Note that Rhode Island game has been moved to Friday night. The Orange will open with 4 straight dome games. 3rd down and 10 here for Long, and that one's blown dead for a big sack, which in that spot of the field
Ron
is
Thompson
trouble.
there,
It looks like they'll call it halftime.
And Ron Thompson again just forcing his way. Actually could have been a holding call as well. Ref chose not to throw the flag. It looks like he might have, but that's Ron Thompson taking matters into his own hands.
Lots of plays made by the Syracuse defense in the first part of this. Let's go to Brian on the field. Ready to sidle up with Coach Schaefer. The defense tends to be ahead of the game in these types of scenarios, and looks like that's what we've seen so far, Brian.
Coach, we've seen about half your scrimmage here so far. A couple nice plays down the field of receivers. You like that group, I think, so far during spring.
Yeah, it was good to see. Made a couple big plays on the ball down the field, and then I thought Irv had a real nice run early. Probably could have had a big play with Irv on that screen that he dropped, so it's too bad. He'd had a really good first half. But saw some good things, saw some good hitting, some good tackling by the defense. Nice play down there by Paris Bennett.
All right, Coach, we'll talk to you after the game.
Got it. Thanks.
And this alone is part of the practice routine going into halftime, making adjustments coming out. There will be a second half of the scrimmage coming up for you in a little bit. Brian will have visits with Jeremiah Marr and Pete Sala, as we mentioned. Spring game coverage continues from the Carrier Dome in just a moment on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Back at the Carrier Dome. Our fans are making their way in and out around the building, checking out various seating options. And good family weekend here at the Dome. Women's lacrosse and a blowout win against Virginia Tech. Talked about social media and players. There's Wayne Morgan, not able to suit up today, checking his device on the sideline, along with Richie Desir in the background there. Fans brought out the signage.
There you go. It's a bit wordy for signage.
That's all right. It is what you make of it. A little punting.
Spoke like a true former athlete. It's a lot of words.
See beep there. Chris Gold, kicking coach. His brother Robbie Gold, one of the best kickers in the NFL. And getting some guys coached up for special teams. Will Hicks, one of the really underrated, unsung heroes in the program.
Well, I think so as well. I did not train under Will Hicks, so Mike Wojcik was my guy, who I thought highly of. But I've been amazed at the amount of guys that did train under Will Hicks that come back to this day. Dwight Freeney probably headlining that class and continue to swear by him. I had a chance to meet with Bobby Purcells, who's the lead development officer down there at NC State, and that's certainly where Will Hicks spent a lot of time. But just listen to some people from NC State while they were here for the regionals there, just go on and on about what Will Hicks meant to that football team down there at NC State. So again, I think the world of him, and good guy to boot. So sometimes as a weight coach, it's hard to do both, but he pulls it off.
Saw Alex Hodgkinson there getting some work as a reserve punter. Punter is one position that is locked up going into the fall. Riley Dixon has been so good, so effective out of the Sylvan Beach area. Last year utilized in a number of ways, including throwing a touchdown on a fake field goal. Also had a long run.
Punt,
a fake punt, And Cole Murphy figures to be the place kicker when it counts come September. So it's like maybe an adjustment in the game plan here to go to a scrimmage period with the ball at the 40-yard line. Terrell Hunt and his band of merry mates. We've got Alvin Cornelius, the players call him Ace, at the top of your screen. Rave reviews this spring for his work in the receiving corps. And Hunt to throw on first down, looking for Cornelius.
Oh, almost a little PI maybe.
Some contact there with Cordell Hudson. Scott Schaefer has been so in charge of the Syracuse defense and has had his longtime friend and cohort, Chuck Bulla, who continues to blitz from every angle, overlooking that group. Here's Schaefer's report on the personnel that he sees taking the field for the Cuse.
We lost quite a few good players on defense, so you're going to see a bunch of new names, new faces. But I've been pleased with the development of the defensive side of the ball. They're playing hard. They're learning the systems. And I think we have some very promising players. Probably up front, Ron Thompson's the one guy. We've played him both on the edge and inside last year because of injuries and lack of depth and issues that we had. But this year he's playing on the edge, and he's had a very good spring. He's had a ton of sacks. And I've been really pleased with his progress. And across the board up front, a young man like Caton Samuels, nobody knows anything about since we recruited him. We redshirted him. He's gotten bigger, stronger, smarter, and he's had a very good spring as well. Across the board up front, it's just going to be a competition, and like we've always done here ever since I've been here, for the 6 years I've been here, we'll play as many guys that deserve to be playing to try to keep fresh bodies on the field with the front four. At the linebacker position, losing Cam Lynch and Dyshawn Davis, two kids that played a ton of football over the last few years, we have spots to fill. I've been pleased with Paris Bennett playing outside of the box at an outside linebacker position. JT Thomas is competing with him right now. When you go into the boundary, we moved Marquise Hodge into the boundary. He's played middle linebacker, and that leaves room for Zaire Franklin to run things in the middle. So those are the guys at the linebacker position that have jumped out. And then at the corner position, we're looking for Corey Winfield and Wiggum to be the first two guys that are playing, as well as Morgan, who's all three of those guys have made good progress. But we have some young guys playing. Cordy's playing both free safety and corner. I've been extremely pleased with Hudson's performance this spring at the corner position, and as well as Dowles. Dowles has made a lot of interceptions and done some good things. And then back at the safety position, we just have a battle going on. Chauncey Sism's back there, battling, doing some good things. As I mentioned, Cordy's playing good football, and Rodney Williams is a young man that we redshirted last year, and he's been playing well, just to mention a few. So, you know, there's a lot of names I didn't mention that are going to have impact, but I've been pleased with the progress on the defensive side of the ball.
Here's a burst up the middle in the run game after a near miss on a deep shot. Ball might have come free at the end of the play there, too.
Well, you got Joe Standard, it looked like, and one other just sitting on their butt in the middle of that melee there, just knocked right to the ground. Luke Arcianega just got reinstated with 2 more years of eligibility. Happy for him, but both of those two were part of the train wreck that just ran through the middle there with Devontae McFarland.
Arcianega, former linebacker, will see more time at defensive end going forward, and he's a guy that had been at the University of Nevada and as well a junior college, missed last year due to injury, and so he has this coming season in the fall and then 1 more year of eligibility. That is a big break for him.
Yes, and the program too. I mean, he's a high effort guy, runs his motor. I miss seeing him and Josh Kirkland out there together, 2 guys that just kind of had a knack for making plays.
First down in enemy territory here, and a good run for George Morris, close to another first down. Looks like he did gain just the 10 yards. Eric Jackson on the tackle to eventually bring him down, but Morris with a nice first down run, and he had been stuffed a bit early in the game. Good kick out block there by Josh Paris.
I mean, that's what Josh does too. When you're talking about the blocking tight end, we talk about Cameron Lynch doing a good job there, but Paris is charged with the task of doing one-on-one there, holding that edge against the defensive lineman. Typically the edge goes to the bigger lineman, but Josh does a nice job of it.
Going for a steam, lots of contact there. Some one-on-one fighting with Hudson. They've had a battle going on throughout the day, and that was fun to see. 2 good athletes. Hudson holds his ground.
And it's a tremendous shot there down the field. Terrell Hunt, again, you're asking that offensive line to give you that protection needed, and that's what you talk about too. I mean, the game itself will teach you how to compete, but what these guys do in practice and even in the weight room, they compete all year long, and that time just a battle in the end zone for the football. Brisley's team actually does a good job of knocking it away as well.
I think he made the first contact. 2nd down and 10 at the 30-yard line. Hunt to quarterback. Here's a catch on a quick pop pass. Well short of the line to gain by Irv Phillips out of the backfield. Irv Phillips will get the ball so many different ways. Conventional handoffs, end arounds out of the slot.
Yeah.
In this case, kind of an over-the-ball throw.
And maybe I'm a traditionalist, and I'm going to miss seeing Irvin Phillips line up in the backfield. But you're right, though, when you talk about this new offensive scheme there, you're going to see him in motion. You're going to see him as a slot receiver. Obviously, he's got one of these guys that's proven to have good hands. So Tim Lester, the offensive coordinator, is licking his chops when he sees a talent like that. And that time showing his effectiveness on the inside. Just nice little sit-down route. Picks up a couple yards. Now 3rd and 4, much more manageable.
Hunt quick to the sticks for the catch. First down, Steve Ishmael. Yep. Simple enough. That's a play that's practiced quite a bit. Jacob Green on the stop, but not before the change move.
Well, and I think that's what you're talking about with Steve Ishmael, is just that overall presence and awareness that he has. You know, that time cutting his route off beyond the first down, almost jumping backwards, anticipating the pressure there from the cornerback, and lunges forward to make a nice hands catch. So, you know, he's aware of the first down, knows where the hit's coming from, and is still able to execute and move the chains.
Pistol formation once again. That's been the predominant look from Tim Lester's offense. Delay fake, and Hunt scrambles for the back line of the end zone. Too deep. Ishmael
Dunk the
target.
donut right there. Now that corner of the end zone, Matt, always brings up this memory to me. Syracuse versus Texas, 1992. It's the old Marvin Graves is in the shotgun formation, walks up to the left tackle, starts barking something, gets the defense confused a little bit. It's a direct snap to the running back, Marvin Graves. Runs a little fade route there, and that's the one where the ball's actually completed. He catches the touchdown. Everybody goes squirting out of bounds. And right where that Dunkin' Donuts is, where that first row in the railing, that whole thing collapsed. So those first 4 or 5 rows actually fell down, not just so much onto the field, but onto Marvin Graves and others there.
Second down 10. Devontae McFarland hit again by Jonathan Thomas, who has made some noise. The linebacker spot up to cut down the ball carrier. Thomas, the guy that going into next season will get very serious consideration for playing time.
Well, and again, Syracuse was in a lot of games. They won a lot of games 2 years ago. They were in a lot of games last year because of their defense. So even if you're not one of the starting 3, you got to figure, especially the linebacking position, they're going to rotate you in and out just to keep the legs fresh as possible out there.
Irvin Phillips is in the slot this time to the left on 3rd and about 7. Hunt through the hands of Avant on the far side. That would have been a first down. So Sean Avant, the Miramar product, will be a junior in the fall. Missed chance there. Let's go to the field and check in with Brian Higgins, and a guy we talked about making such an impact defensively a year ago for Syracuse. Will be missed in the fall. That's Cam Lynch.
All right, Matt, we do have Cam Lynch right here. Cam, you are one of 8 defensive starters that needs to be replaced this year. What have you seen out of these young guys here this spring?
They're doing good. Coach Lee's doing a good job. The linebackers, I can speak for them. He's doing a good job, like I said, man, to get them prepped for the upcoming season. Taking over the reins. Me and Dyshawn leaving. Josh Kirkland leaving as well. So Zaire's going to do a good job. Ahad's going to do a good job. And so is Paris.
Paris Bennett's sort of the new guy that we didn't see as much of last year out of the 3 you mentioned there. What can we expect out of him stepping into the lineup?
Great talent, man. Great talent, smart guy. He's a very long, athletic guy, too. So he can play either position. He can play Mike, Sam, and Will. So we got him playing Sam right now. If he needs to play Will, they can have him play that, too. So, I'm excited to see what he's going to do for this year.
Take me through your last 3 months or so since the end of the season as you've been in full training mode getting ready for Tuesday's pro day.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Just training for 3 months at home. My mom, it was good, get a good home-cooked meal and stuff like that. So it was good being there with her. So, now I'm back with the bros. So it's always good to come back here and to say hello to everybody. So I'm back pro day on Tuesday.
Yeah, you're down in the Atlanta area. And coming up on pro day, what's your goals for Tuesday? What do you expect to do?
Well, bench probably 225, maybe 35 times. Run a 4.6 at least. So, those are my goals. Those are the highlights. Do well in the drills. Impress the coaches and the scouts out there. So that's the main goal, and it should be a good day.
All right, Cam, you were fun to watch for 4 years, and good luck on Tuesday and going forward.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right, Matt.
Cam and Brian with the same kind of goals.
I looked at you with the 225 pounds for 35 times. That's ambitious. He can do it. That'd be really too ambitious regarding me or you. Probably combined, we can't do 35 reps.
25 pounds 35 times. I got that.
Now we're talking.
Let's start somewhere. Austin Wilson going deep. Some contact there as well, going for Jamal Custis one-on-one with Julian Wiggum. But pro day moved back a little bit this time. It's after the spring game. It's Tuesday the 7th. Terrell Eskridge and Sean Hickey were the lone representations of the program at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, but everybody will get a look in front of the scouts on Tuesday. And then you look at the guys coming in the fall, who for the most part are not represented here today. 13 defensive players signed by the coaching staff.
Well, you look at was it 4 defensive backs, 7 linebackers.
Quick out here, they blow that play dead.
Trey Dunkelberger again would have been his 3rd catch of the day, but a quick whistle brings that back. But no, and that's changed as well, Matt. You can certainly live in the past if you're me and talk about, hey, during my era, it was unusual not to be redshirted. Most guys came in knowing you were going to sit a year, and it was the exceptional athlete or the special circumstance maybe that put a guy into action. But no, when you're talking about kids right now and you're looking at those 13 starters that you signed that are going to be here, I mean, many of those you're looking as immediate impact players, whether it's in their position they're recruited for or certainly on special teams. And so it's a really big youth movement, and it's not just Syracuse, it's across the board.
Remember our signing day coverage back in February. Marquise Blair, a safety from Ohio, identified as the player that might be able to most immediately come and make an impact once he reports in the fall. Only a couple of early enrollees. We mentioned Trey Dunkelberger, junior college transfer. The other is a long snapper. That's a position where Sam Rogers has been such a stud, certainly in the classroom and community, but oh, by the way, was a rock solid for every game over 4 years as a long snapper. So big shoes to fill for Keller should he win that job in the fall. On the second down at about 12 here, draw play for George Morris, and he gets about half of it back. So another thing to watch for in the fall, not just the incoming new meat, the freshmen, but how can guys who saw a little bit of time last year elevate themselves? And defensive coordinator Chuck Bulla commenting on the difference between a bid player and the real deal, number one on the depth chart.
When you're a starter and they know you're a starter, they start scheming you and game planning your weaknesses and your strengths. When you're a backup, they don't really usually go to the second level. So that's going to be a big adjustment for all guys. They're going to know the opponent's going to study you now, find out what you do well, what you do not so well, and then they're going to try to exploit it. So I think that's the biggest thing. And the other thing is just playing. The more you play, the better you get. Obviously, so there's going to be a lot of guys playing for the first time with extended playing time. We're going to see how they respond.
Chuck Billa, the players love so much his scheme and approach to attacking from the defensive side of the ball.
Oh yeah, it's fun to watch.
That will only continue going forward as the personnel gets turned over at this time of year. First down and 10, right at midfield, and Austin Wilson at quarterback. Paris Bennett some pressure. Wilson, we thought might escape, but a flag down and whistles to blow that play dead. They're playing better safe than sorry. It's been a quick whistle when the quarterbacks have been breathed on.
Well, you know what? I almost made the comment earlier when we saw Devontae McFarland hit the Hulk. It was going the other way. A little slow to get up, it looked like from up here, and certainly it's just about that time in the spring game where the coaching staff is watching every play, almost holding their breath in that, hey, we've made it this far. You know, now it's one more play. But I wouldn't be surprised if Scott Schaefer, calls this thing a little early. You know, you're flirting with everything right now, and I'm knocking on wood as we sit here next to you. But, right now the tie is going to the runner as far as the quick whistle goes. And there's another one.
Case in point was a completion to Avant, but good pressure from Ron Thompson and Donnie Simmons. Footsteps on Austin Wilson there.
And it's important to finish right now. Both Avant and the play before with Steve Ishmael, clearly the whistle was blown, but the ball does leave the quarterback's hand. So you still like to go back and watch this on film and be able to see those receivers still concentrate and make those catches, even though the whistle had already blown.
That was marked off as a sack, so it's third down and very long with a line to gain the 40. This is third and 22. George Morris on the draw. Gets half of it back, tripped up. Almost to the first stick there. Breaking back to the outside, stopped at the 48-yard line.
A little slow to get up.
A punting situation.
Chauncey Schism there was a little bit slow to get up as well. So now a changeover on downs.
Seen a good mix of players getting in here. Certainly the ones and twos on the depth chart. And now another tier as we get further on in the scrimmage.
So, you talk about the mindset of these players going into spring ball and certainly into the spring game. I'm going to go back to, again, just in the minds of a player. You want to get out there, you want to play, you want to perform. This is your chance to show people what you can do. Right now, we just talked about the coach's mentality. Well, the player's mentality is it's okay if you don't call my number right now. We got 10 or 12 minutes left in the scrimmage. You know, 1 or 2 more plays for me personally is not going to, you know, push me over the top in any regard. Only something, you know, bad maybe can come of it. So everybody's a little apprehensive right now. Again, just going back to the, you know, having lived it.
This is an extended red zone look here. First down and 10 at the 30-yard line. Terrell Hunt commanding the offense, and a first down give to Devontae McFarland off right tackle for a gain of 5. Hit originally by Colton Moskell. And now second down and 5.
And this is certainly an area of the field, Matt, that, you know, you just talk about red zone and just the absolute poor performance that you saw last year with the Syracuse team in the red zone, in rushing touchdowns. Just has been an area of focus all off season long already, and certainly during spring practices in the spring game today. This is an area that you have to get better if you want to be competitive. If you want to be in games, this is a must.
False start here. So this is coming back 5 to the 30, undoing the gain of the previous play. You also want to, maybe 1 or 2 plays don't make a difference, but isn't it accurate to say you'd like to end here on a high note, a positive
sure.
impression?
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I don't mean to be negative Nancy on it all. Something could come out of it well, but
Irvin Phillips outruns Moskell, his number counterpart at 14, and then down to the 27-yard line for a gain of 3. Moskell be a redshirt freshman in the fall. Phillips a true sophomore. And now another personnel change offensively, getting Brisley Esteem back on the field along with Sean Avant.
Well,
for third down at about 7.
And you're talking about him right now with Colton Moskell. I mean, he's a linebacker in there that certainly every rep, every look he can get is just going to pay dividends for him in the offseason and going into training camp next year. So a guy like him, to your point, would be, yeah, you want to capitalize every opportunity to make a statement.
In the pistol, the motion man is Tyler Provo. Throw to the far side.
Oh, wow.
Not sure he got it. It was out of bounds anyway. Avant unable to hang on. And Avant's had a number of near misses. So the guy is getting a lot of run in today's scrimmage. Take a second look here.
Yeah, he's got a lot of praise throughout spring practice as well. Plenty of time there for Terrell Hunt. Sits in the pocket. Ball's turned on, and almost a shoestring literally catches that ball. He tries to pin between his shoe and ankle there, but comes out just a little bit as he falls out of bounds. So easy call for the official, but again, one of the things you like is what type of concentration, what type of effort was there, and I would give Avant high remarks on that last play.
Esteem and Anoisi are the receivers to the top of the screen, so you've got a deep threat and a tall post-up guy, but Hunt coming near side and incomplete for Paris, covered by Jacob Green and Eric Jackson.
And even last year, Josh Paris there only averaging just under 5.4 yards per catch. So more of the quick flat, the hook over the ball, the stick route, the 4 or 5 yard quick out there, more of a possession type receiver. That would have been nice had Terrell Hunt been able to connect with him, but that's a timing route. It really doesn't exist because it's tough to simulate that in practice, simply because that's more of a make up as you go type of route at the end.
Read the defense.
Yeah, read the defense. Would have been a 5th in the progression for Terrell.
Second down and 10. Terrell after a checkoff going left, and lots of contact there. The would-be target tripped up in the end zone. Jawan Dowles and Eric Jackson on the coverage. Jackson going with the gloves around the belt instead of on his hands today.
Well,
better to give the money sign for on third down.
I tell you what, you know, it's interesting when you see pieces of equipment that are issued for a certain purpose be turned around and reapplied in I guess, a new or creative manner. But
that's the old baseball outfielder that has the sunglasses on the brim of his cap.
Oh, yeah. Then he lets
a little too late when one drops in and left center.
And he wears his hat backwards like somebody did playing for the Phillies in 4th grade there.
3rd down and 10.
That'd be me. I'll never forget it.
Adley Anoisi had the touchdown catch early. Here's one over the middle to set up another goal-to-go situation. Down to the 8-yard line. He's a big target.
Well, and Anoisi again, I mean, certainly, you know, this is his time to shine as well. He shows not only his ability in catching the football, but he uses his big frame as well. And when you've got that size, it's tough to come around and make that interception or deflect the football. Just, you know, big is good, big is bigger, and that's what he does. He makes himself bigger down there.
Good strike thrown in by Terrell Hunt.
Well, in this
Morris the carrier this time.
And so when you're talking about ending on a high right now, I'd love to see a rushing touchdown.
Yeah,
you know,
and that might be the last play.
Right, and that would. I think that would be the last play, no doubt. But that's what you love to see right now, and that's the spit and vinegar of the guys up front of that offensive line. We can be fancy, we can spread it, but you know what? Offensive linemen, they're the same everywhere as far as, you know what, we want to get dirty. We want to have blood on our uniform, and football is a badge of honor. And these guys, you know, they should at least have that mindset of we want to run it in.
2 post-up guys, I would say here. Anoisi to the left, Custis to the right. Jamal Custis at 6'5", 230. He's quite the imposing figure. Looking left for Anoisi, off his hands, and that was a seed thrown by Terrell Hunt.
Yeah. Yeah, Terrell Hunt, quick 3-step drop there.
Dowell's on the coverage.
Timing route. Anoisi gets inside leverage there, just a quick slant route. You know, it's not your true jump ball, and this time you're trying to use the big frame of both those receivers, mirrors route on both sides, but also a tougher ball to catch as well because there's so much heat either coming from the momentum of your slant route towards the ball and obviously the velocity that Hunt put on as well. I mean, that thing was smoking.
Third down and goal from the 5. Now they add the slot man Irv Phillips to the right. Wouldn't be surprised to see Custis get a shot at it. Hunt coming his way. Hand fighting there. Custis almost able to shed Cordell Hudson and make the catch, but didn't get his arms up quite enough in time.
And confidence for Custis, I think, is the biggest area where he can gain. He's a good practice player. He competes. But I think he needs to remind himself, and I don't know if it's going back to high school, taking his high school highlight reel even, like, hey, man, you're here for a reason. We have faith in you. You have faith in yourself. You need to have faith in yourself and make those plays, because that is the difference between good to great right there. You got excellent position. You work all that time and effort to be in the right spot, make the catch at the end. We know you can do it.
Has one-on-one. It looks to be on the outside now. Hunt after a quick look left comes right and incomplete again. And that looks like it'll be the final play of the proceedings today. The annual spring game comes to a conclusion. No injuries, which is a win for the players and coaching staff. They'll group up there for a moment. Lots still to come throughout the day and weekend related to recruiting activities, and a lot more to come. But on the field for the fans that are here, an autograph session and selfie stations are ahead. Here's what we can expect come the fall. Keep in mind that Rhode Island game has been moved up to Friday night at 7 o'clock on September 4th. 4 straight at home to begin the year, including Central Michigan staff that is new, and LSU, one of the best programs to come to the Dome in recent years.
Well, I think it's an exciting 2015 schedule. You look at those 4 home games all in the month of September. It's going to be a great opportunity there, especially to welcome in LSU. By all rights, should be undefeated when LSU hits campus there, but you know, the ACC in itself, by playing Florida State and Clemson every year, it's a tough conference. But you step outside that conference, you look at the schedule, some of the teams coming in, obviously marked by LSU. I think there's going to be your opportunity will be there to make a statement, and certainly big fan of Schaefer. I hope he does.
All right, exciting stuff to come in the fall. We'll be there with you every step of the way. The Orange now go into recovering from today's activities, and it's on the team leaders to take the workouts on their shoulders from here on out. The coaches will be on the recruiting trail. So the spring game saw some flashes offensively and defensively. Adley Anoisi getting in the end zone, a juggling catch from Brisley Esteem among the highlights. For Chris Gandy, Brian Higgins, and our entire crew, I'm Matt Parks saying so long and enjoy the spring and summer, everybody.